Hello everyone, welcome. Mr. Ultra Smart here. Okay, India is one of the world's largest countries and is the world's largest democracy. So in a democracy there has to be political parties and India has innumerable number of them. So in India the major political parties like most of the major political parties are controlled by a single family. It's a dynasty. The political party is a dynasty. So this is a new series, the Indian political dynasties. Okay, so the few of the dynasties are Congress, Shiromani Akali Dal, Shiv Sena, the Nationalist Congress Party, the Samajwadi Party, Rashtriya Janata Dal Chekilya, Dravida Munnetra Kalagam, Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, AIMIL. So these are the major dynastic parties. Today we are going to be seeing about the Indian National Congress, the INC. So INC was the first political party to be formed in India. It was way back in 1885. It was formed by a Britisher named Allen Octavian Hume. He was a retired civil service officer. Okay, so in the Congress at that time did not have much popularity because it was only an elite group of people, educated people who were in the party. So it started gaining popularity step by step by step. And that's the time when in 1925 Gandhi comes and joins the party and starts gaining more popular support for the party. So it started growing a bit by bit. So the pre-independence is not interesting. It's just the growth of the party and the different leaders. After independence, we can divide it into four eras, the party into four eras again. So the post independence is divided into four eras. The Jawaharlal Nehru and Lal Bahadur Shastri era, the Indira Gandhi era, the Rajiv Gandhi Narasimha Rao era, and after 1981 era. Okay, so first we'll be seeing about after independence, the Jawaharlal Nehru Lal Bahadur Shastri era. So after independence, when the first general elections were held, it was Congress party who had a major support. It won in a landsliding victory, and Jawaharlal Nehru was made the country's prime minister. So Jawaharlal Nehru was some like a paramount leader. He was a very strong face and is one of the greatest leaders of the party till date. So Jawaharlal Nehru won for three continuous terms. The 4 continuous terms without counting the after general elections. So 1947 to 1952, 1952 to 1957, and 1957 to 1962 was another term. So in 1962, what happens is that he wins the elections, and in 1964, after 2 years of his election, he dies because of some problem known as the aortic dissection. So when he dies, there was competition for the party's presidency and the country's prime ministership. So at that time, there had to be some interim prime ministers. So Gulzarilal Nanda was the interim prime minister for a particular period of time. So at that time, there were two major faces in the party, Lal Bahadur Shastri and Moraji Desai. So at that time, what happens is that Kamaraj, who was the chief minister of Madras and and was very influential in the party. So he was the kingmaker in deciding the prime minister for the country, and he supported Lal Bahadur Shastri, and Lal Bahadur Shastri was the one who became the prime minister of India. So in 1964, Lal Bahadur Shastri becomes the prime minister. But after signing the Tashkent Declaration, Lal Bahadur Shastri dies of a mysterious heart attack, which the reasons are still unknown till date. Okay, so Lal Bahadur Shastri dies. The next, Indira Gandhi comes, the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi. So Indira Gandhi's era, the second era, we can generally know this period as 1962 to 1984, the Indira Gandhi era. So Indira Gandhi in 1966 had to come into elections, had to come to the party's presidential again competition. Now it was between Indira Gandhi and Moraji Desai. Again, it was Kamaraj who was the kingmaker in deciding this. So in 1969, Indira Gandhi was still the prime minister of the country when the Nijalingappa, the current party's president at that time, had to expel Indira Gandhi from the party because of indiscipline. Yeah, because of indiscipline. So what happens is that now the party is divided into two factions. The INCO, the INCI. So the INCI is the INCR, sorry, INCI comes afterwards. So the INCR and the INCO. So INCR is the new ruling. So it was Indian National Congress ruling, whereas the INCO was the Indian National Congress old. So now what happens is that Indira Gandhi gains popular support. Most of the committee members and the members of the parliament from the Indian National Congress joins INCR. So INCO, what happens is that they lose popular support and they are later joined into the Janata Party in 1977. And the INCO was led by Moraji Desai, Kamaraj and Nijalingappa. Okay, but they did not have major support, so they had to merge in with Janata Party. Okay, so now what happens to INCO? INCR. INCO is gone. So INCR gains major popular support. And Indira Gandhi was only known as very capable lady, and it started becoming more and more of an autocratic rule. So in 1977, when the emergency in the country was announced, the country was in a very devastating state because all the prisoners were released from the jails and there had to be new elections conducted. At this time, Janata Party gained popular support and won the elections in a landsliding victory. So the Janata Party started the government, and it had the government for a particular time frame. And in Jan 1980, when the elections were held, again Indira Gandhi won in a landsliding victory, 1980 to 1984. So at this time, what happens is that Indira Gandhi gets something known as the Operation Blue Star. It was that when she made soldiers enter the Golden Temple in Amritsar, thinking that they had hostages and they had Khalistani soldiers in them. So this angered the Sikhs, in which she was later murdered by her own bodyguard, who was a Sikh. Okay, so this is the Indira Gandhi era comes to an end. Now we can know this part as the Rajiv Gandhi and the Narasimha Rao era, the 1984. Okay, so now what happens is that Rajiv Gandhi in 1984 contests the elections for Indian National Congress and he gains a major popular support. Rajiv Gandhi, and he wins the elections and he starts continuing as the president of the party and the prime minister. Okay, so not the president of the party but the prime minister of the nation. What happens is that there was a civil war going on in Sri Lanka at that time. It was between the Tamil Elam, the Tamil Liberation Tigers, and the Sri Lankan government, in which the in which Rajiv Gandhi sent peacekeeping troops to Sri Lanka, in which the peacekeeping troops generally supported the Sri Lankan government. Because of this was a major loss to the Tamil Elam and they had to lose the civil war. So was angered this angered most of the people. And what happens now is that when in 1988 elections, he came for campaigning. At that time, he was killed. He was killed in a suicide bombing. So he dies. And now comes Narasimha Rao in 1991. At that time, Rajiv Gandhi's period was that they thought Rajiv Gandhi was inefficient because any decision he had to make, he didn't make it by himself, but he consulted all the committee members of the party and made decisions. So now comes the Narasimha Rao period from 1991 to the 1994 period. See, this period is not much known, but Narasimha Rao was also known as the father of economic reforms because he got in lots of things to change. But after 1991, after 1998, the party held presidency. Okay, after 1991 to 1994. After that, what happens is that the NDA, the National Democratic Alliance, gains power and they start ruling the country. So now let's come to the last part, the 1998, the lost elections. So in 1998, they lost elections. So after that is known as the 1998 era, the last era, and which is continuing till date. Sonia Gandhi, the daughter of Indira Gandhi, enters the political party, and at that time was there differences in the party. So the party broke into two: the main Indian National Congress and the Nationalist Congress Party, which was led by Sharad Pawar. So in 2004, the alliances were formed with DMK, Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, and the Nationalist Congress Party. And they won by a very substantial margin. It was not much. And Manmohan Singh became the Prime Minister of the country because Sonia Gandhi was the president and was not interested to be the Prime Minister of the country. So he continues for 2009 to 2014. And again 2009 to 2014, Manmohan Singh was the president because two elections were held and both were won by Manmohan Singh. After this, we can generally call it the decline of the party because the National Democratic Alliance under Amit Shah and Narendra Modi comes into power. So they won for two continuous terms, the NDA, 2014 to 2019 and 2019 till now. So at this time, Rahul Gandhi is the current party president and his sister Priyanka Vadra Gandhi is the general secretary. Okay, so now we'll be seeing how is this a dynasty? How many people are there in Congress that under the same family? So the Nehru Gandhi family. First, it was Motilal Nehru who is first joined the party. Then the son Jawaharlal Nehru. So Jawaharlal Nehru had a sister, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit, who was an MP. Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister. So now Motilal Nehru, Vijaya Lakshmi Pandit, daughter, Member of Parliament, Jawaharlal Nehru, son of Motilal Nehru, the Prime Minister for three continuous terms. Okay, now Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's wife, Kamala Nehru, was a party leader. Okay, so now Jawaharlal Nehru has a daughter, Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi again was the Prime Minister for the country for 1966 to 1977 and 1980 to 1984. She was the daughter of Jawaharlal Nehru. Now, Indira Gandhi has two sons, Sanjiv Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi. So Sanjay Gandhi. Sanjay Gandhi was only a politician, whereas Rajiv Gandhi was president for one term, 1984 to 1989. So now we'll see about Uma Nehru. She's someone who was the cousin of Indira Gandhi and was a member of parliament. And her son, Uma Nehru's son, Arun Nehru, who was the nephew of Indira Gandhi and was a former prime minister. So now Rajiv Gandhi, we'll see Rajiv Gandhi. So Rajiv Gandhi had a daughter, Sonia Gandhi, who is the wife of Rajiv Gandhi. Sorry, not a daughter, but wife of Rajiv Gandhi, and she was a party president also. So now Rajiv Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi have a daughter and a son. So the son is Rahul Gandhi, who is an MP and the party president, whereas Priyanka Gandhi is the party's general secretary. Okay, so this is the part of the Sonia Rajiv Gandhi family. So now if we see Sanjay Gandhi, even he was a son of Indira. His son Varun Gandhi was a former MP. And Rahul Gandhi thing. So this is the main alliance. This is the main family tree and the political parties. Okay, so now we can see something very peculiar. It was in BJP, Bharatiya Janata Party. Menaka Gandhi, the wife of Sanjay Gandhi, the wife of Sanjay Gandhi, Menaka Gandhi, had been the cabinet member of BJP. And the son Varun Gandhi, who is a former MP, is currently now an MP from Pilibhit of Uttar Pradesh in MP. So guys, we'll be seeing about other parties. So if you want to know about other parties, please don't forget to subscribe, like and share the video. And thank you.